the whole nutraceutical realm. This will not be an infomercial for the next hour, except for about 5 minutes of it. But I am here today to announce DNA Force, ladies and gentlemen. And he'll tell us about that after we cover some news. My dad, who is an oral surgeon and a dentist, but also has been involved in FDA-approved nutraceuticals becoming drugs, worked in the last year with Dr. Group. My dad quit practicing and quit managing 20-plus dental offices and medical facilities because of Obamacare in the last year. And they developed something that the leading competitor isn't even as strong, and is $600. Because, ladies and gentlemen, one ingredient that's in this costs $12,000 a kilo. $12,000 a kilo. The next ingredient costs $7,000 a kilo. The next, less expensive, $5,000 a kilo. Another one, $3,400 a kilo. We bought it directly from the certified, patented, FDA-approved, whole 9 yards, laboratories that make it. We had it scientifically mixed at Dr. Group's factory facility at the highest standards to bring you InfoWarsLife.com DNA Force for $134.95 when it should be $600 to $1,000 because on average they mark these up 7 times. This is only marked up 1.5 times, and that funds our whole operation. So you're getting a nutraceutical grade. I had my open bottle in here, but I took it home. Here it is. This is another bottle they brought in that absolutely I've been taking for the last month. You think the Survival Shield is powerful, the X2? You think the Super Male Vitality, Super Female Vitality is powerful because it's concentrated, cold-pressed, no cutting corners, not dried herbs, wet herbs. You think that's powerful? DNA Force. We're going to tell you what's in it. In fact, I've already gotten into it. We'll get into the news in a moment. Dr. Group, first off, thanks for being here. You and my dad in the last year have developed this. We have a limited run of only 1,000 bottles, and we expect this to sell out in a couple of days because the nutraceutical market knows what we're talking about. This is, unfortunately, I will not rip people off, so this is going to make a lot of people mad. It undercuts the entire market on this. This should be $600. It's $134. One ingredient costs us $40 a bottle. Another ingredient, I mean, it just goes on. And it's got a bunch of ingredients in it, okay? So this is the absolute platinum standard. We're going to skip this network break. Dr. Group, tell people, I mean, I've never seen you and my dad so excited. Tell people about this.
Well, first of all, you know, as we talk, and it seems like we say the same thing over and over and over and over again about the damage that's going on with all the chemicals and the exposure to toxins in the air and the food and the water, et cetera. But when you look at the body, we're composed of 100 trillion cells. And if you focus in and zoom in on each one of those cells, it'd be like a balloon full of water, let's say, and inside that balloon full of water is your nucleus, and inside of that is your chromosomes and your genes and everything else. Now picture yourself with a 50 caliber machine gun, and you're going boom, 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 and you're shooting that balloon full of water at, 500 rounds a day. Except the rounds of ammunition are pesticide molecules, insecticide molecules, GMO molecules, and they're going in, and then all of a sudden the balloon fixes itself right away so it doesn't leak. And then all of these things that are coming in, heavy metals and all this stuff, that's the attack that we're having on our cells every single day. So what happens is all these chemicals and toxins accumulate inside the cell. And you're obviously going to have damage to the cell membrane, number one, because you're shooting all these things into it. You're going to have damage to the intracellular fluid, which is really nothing more than seawater. And all of that affects the mitochondrial function. It affects the DNA function. It affects every single part of the cell. So the cell becomes damaged and toxic because of all these chemicals and toxins coming in, and has a hard time repairing itself because, the cell has to work extra hard. Well, in 2009, a group of scientists received the Nobel Prize for anti-aging or cellular protection developments when they discovered what's called telomeres. Telomeres are tiny little ends to the chromosomes. They're on the tips of the chromosomes. When you're conceived, you're born with 15,000 base pairs of telomeres. When you're born, you only have 10,000 base pairs of telomeres. When you have 5,000 telomeres, you die. So basically, each time the cell replicates, in other words, if you go back to that analogy of, getting shot with all these chemicals and toxins into the cell every day, the cell gets damaged and beyond repair and then has to replicate into another cell. Every time the cell replicates into another cell, you lose some of these telomeres.
It's like copying a VHS tape. You lose quality.
Exactly. Every time your cell divides, you lose quality. So now with the anti-aging and the big anti-aging and the push to develop healthier cells, every single thing that we need to focus on needs to be focused on the cells. Yes. What is going to activate, there's an enzyme called telomerase, and telomerase is the enzyme that actually stimulates the production of telomeres. As we age, our telomeres start decreasing and decreasing and decreasing on the chromosomes. They get frayed and the cells die. What we want to do is figure out how we can stimulate telomerase, which is an enzyme, and they've actually done studies at Harvard.
Yeah, we're showing it from Harvard and other mainstream sources, suppressing tumor growth via telomeres.
Telomerase activity, which is a gene that produces an enzyme called telomerase, which actually adds telomeres to the chromosomes.
And that's why we're allowed to say it. Explain to people what's in this.
Okay, so why
it's so expensive?
What's in the DNA force is a conglomerate of things. Number one, it contains a product called PQQ, which is pyrroloquinoline quinone, and that's actually has scientific studies. Each ingredient...
One source of that in the U.S., all the rest comes from China. We could have gotten it a lot cheaper. This is the certified super grade.
Every single ingredient actually has clinical studies behind it because they're all patented or trademarked ingredients in there, except for the rhodiola rosea and the astragalus root, which has been shown in studies to increase telomere length. But the formula was developed with your dad having the original idea to put something together because we all know that our DNA is being attacked, and if we're 100 trillion cells and all of our cells are damaged and toxic, we need to start at the root cause of the problem, and that's repairing and protecting the DNA. It also contains CoQ10, which is a cellular protector. It contains free radical antioxidants, which, combat free radical damage. All those things that we were talking about that are shooting into the cell are free radicals. They take electrons from the cells. So what we're trying to do is combat all of the damage from the free radicals by using antioxidants, by using things that stimulate energy production, things that repair and even induce new mitochondria.
And to be clear, most supplements just have a tiny bit of this stuff in them because it is so expensive. It's patented. It's only owned by the companies that went out and developed it, discovered it. This is the Rolls-Royce, Bentley level of this, and it's an over-the-top formula. Explain that to people. I mean, this isn't hype. This is normally stuff that doesn't even have as strong or this many things in it. Our leading competitors were $600.
Right. Well, you can get a million types of CoQ10 out there. CoQ10 is ubiquinone, but the active form is ubiquinol. And ubiquinol, is what we put in this form. And we actually use the Konica Q10, which is a made in the USA. All of the ingredients are vegetarian friendly. They're made in the USA. They're of the highest quality. And the fact that they've all been studied in their own right.
We bought the most expensive stuff.
We bought the most expensive stuff and put it together in a synergistic
because I want
formula.
That good, reap what you sow. We're giving people incredibly low price. No one else has something like this. We made sure that this is the over-the-top, absolute win-win-win for everybody.
I'm excited about it. I'm going to take it too. It's like, how many people do you know? We should really live to 120. I mean, even in the Bible, it talks about people living to 400 to 600 years old. What happened between that time? Why are we, now people dying in their 30s and their 40s? Because disease, when the cells become damaged and they can't replicate because they have viral particles attached from the vaccines, they have DNA and RNA from different animals inside their cells, they have endocrine disrupting chemicals. They have phthalates. They have all these things that are altering the DNA. So the DNA in our cells, each time they replicate, who knows what's going to happen on that next replication. And that's why, I mean, you can trace every
cancer
disease to really cellular aging. I mean, because as the cells age, and if they don't get stronger because you're not exercising, you're not sleeping, which all of these things also have been linked to cellular damage, especially stress. When you hear a bunch of negative information all the time, you're in a chronic state of stress, that exponentially decreases the telomeres.
And I am in a constant state of stress fighting the globalist. And so that's why all these products have really helped me through. And I'm still unhealthy, but 40-plus pounds lighter, a lot better than I was a few years ago, just because the basics have now been provided. And I can be exhausted at 5 o'clock and have a bunch of stuff I've got to do. And I can take the X2, I can take the Super Male Vitality, I can now take the DNA Force, and boom, I've got energy. And it's not placebo, because I'm a cynic. I mean, I only want to promote what I know works for me. And again, ladies and gentlemen, it's $134 a bottle. It's a limited amount, guaranteed this will sell out in a week. We have a bet going. I think maybe in a couple days. We want to get your reviews. We want to hear what you have to say. So we want to be the first to try InfoWarsLife.com, InfoWars DNA Force. DNA Force. When you get it, you can research all the ingredients. We know we have a lot of listeners that go out and get stuff tested, which has all been tested. We have that all certified. We challenge you to go test it. I mean, we have produced and put out something that I feel really proud of. And so thank you so much for developing this with my dad, who's helped develop some stuff for the Department of Defense. I'm not supposed to get into that, but I've got a lot of inventors and things in my family. And he's extremely excited about this because he looked at a lot of other products that are out there in the anti-aging movement that's so popular. And you see in the airport magazines and stuff, all these medical doctors you've got to go to and spend thousands of dollars a month getting things like this. We wanted to bring people super nutraceutical grade, highest quality, highest strength, tested and pure at the lowest price out there.
Well, again, nobody is focusing on where all the attack happens and starting at the cellular level, at the chromosomal level, at the DNA level, inside the cell, inside the nucleus of the cell. The cell membrane, gets penetrated by all these things. That's the first defense. I mean, the cell membrane is there kind of like a cell force field to try to protect the nucleus and protect the chromosomes from all this damage. Except if you keep hitting it with all these things a million times and you're not healthy and you're not drinking enough water and the cells become dehydrated, which is like a shriveled up balloon, and then all of a sudden you're poking through all these chemicals and heavy metals all the time, all you're going to get is cellular damage and cellular damage. So no one is really saying, let's take all of these top individual nutraceutical ingredients that protect the DNA, that protect against free radical damage, that are strong antioxidants, that have been clinically studied to help produce healthier cell function, help produce new mitochondria, help present new nerve growth factor. I had a guy, this is brand new off the press. I had one of my guys at my facility who had a car accident 8 years ago, and a part of his back was numb. He had zero feeling in his back for 8 years. He took this, and in 2 days, he got feeling back in his back again.
And I guess that's just because cells are electrochemical. If they don't have these cofactors, they're not able to basically communicate and operate and basically throw off the toxins. Is that an accurate way of saying it?
Right. The cells are deprived, number one, of water. The cells are stressed out. The cells are full of chemicals and toxic compounds. The cells are not healthy. So when they replicate, they degrade. They're not live and healthy for a long period of time, so they start degrading faster. And when they degrade faster, they have to replicate faster. And each time they replicate, you lose a piece.
And there's more mutations, then you get cancer.
That's right. You get cancer or some other disease. I mean, you could get a multitude of different diseases, and all diseases are is just, if you look at the cellular level, part of the aging process as you age. I mean, 40 at 80 years old, 120 years old. I mean, how good would it be to, when you're 80 years old, feel like you're 40 and look like you're 40?
And it's patented and confirmed that some of the things that are in here are on record to grow telomeres, to increase the operation of the mitochondria, regeneration, you name it. We're going to talk about some of those studies and take your phone calls on a host of issues with Dr. Edward Group. I'm Alex Jones. Get your DNA Force at InfoWarsLive.com.
We're on the march.